Hi, Sister Johnson. Thank you so much for being available today to help me out with my project. I'm so excited. And I'm just going to ease on in, just starting off with some simple questions at the beginning. And I want to start off with, what's your full name?
My full name is Catherine with a C, Johnson. And I was born in Fayette County, Texas. That's between Austin and Houston.
Okay. And were your parents born there as well?
Well, they were, all I know that they were born in Texas.
In Texas, okay. Just not the exact town. Okay. Awesome. And when did you move to Dallas?
I came to Dallas after, I lived on a farm.
Okay.
That's why I was born and raised on a farm.
Okay.
And my father had 199-acre farm.
Oh.
That's why I was born.
Okay.
And during those times they had midwives,
Mm-hmm.
so I wasn't born in a hospital.
Okay, yeah.
So I was born on the farm, and I'm 8 miles from the town, way in the country. And when I was born, and in those days, people didn't tell kids much.
Mm-hmm.
Only
about their history and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You didn't hang around their straight tales and listen.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't. That's my worst problem, that I didn't ask questions.
You didn't ask questions.
And they wouldn't. If they would have answered me, why were they born?
Yeah.
I never met my grandfather, our mother, none of my grandparents on either side. My mother's people came from Mississippi.
Okay.
And my father's came from Alabama.
Wow.
And he was 65 when he died.
Mm-hmm.
But he was born in 1864.
1864.
I think that was 2 years after.
It was 1 year.
Was it 1 year?
It was 1 year.
One
yeah,
year.
it was 1 year.
Because he always would tell us that he was a year old when
Yeah.
he brought it over, and he could reach on the table and get food. So his parents were slaves.
Yeah.
But he didn't talk
He didn't talk about it.
Because by him being so young, he didn't know.
He didn't know.
About that.
Wow.
And so when we came here, his father, they gave him his freedom, and so
Mm-hmm.
they bought a farm. My grandfather did.
Okay.
And then when the kids that they had, when he died, he had already divided among them
Mm-hmm.
the farm, how many acres they would get each.
Wow.
So we got 199 acres.
199.
That's all I know about that.
Wow.
And his sisters was joining
Yeah.
our farm. And there was a well there,
Okay.
right between the farms. His sister's mom and him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we would go and draw water from a well.
Wow.
I don't know, you don't know anything about
Yeah,
that.
I've heard about people's
Drawing
different stories
water.
about drawing waters, but
They
I've
all
never
would
done
come
it
to the
before.
well, come to the well on that side, they come to the well. That's why we meet up at the well.
Yeah.
Drawing water, carried up the hill. That's my life, And then we had chicken and
Mm-hmm.
turkeys, and hogs and cattle. We had about 3 or 4 heads of mules and horses.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we had, 1 horse and about 3 mules, I believe. And we did the work by hand. We didn't
Mm-hmm.
have no, what they have appliances now.
Okay.
The mules pulled the plows, and I know you saw that in books.
Yeah.
But the mules pulled
Yeah, I
the
did see that.
cultivators and
That's
farm.
so cool. So you wake up early in the morning.
Early in the morning, but we had to milk the cows before we went to the field.
Oh,
Milk
wow.
the cows and feed the hogs. We had hogs and chicken, and then separate the milk from the cream. We had
Okay.
to separate them. And it's something
Yeah, I don't know anything about a separator. How's that process?
we did that was no electric at all. We didn't have electricity at all.
Mm-hmm.
So we had oil lamps and lantern. We had buckets and service
Okay.
for our horses.
Okay.
When I was born, that's when we went to church. So that's why we milked the cows and separated the milk. The cream go in one bowl, the milk go in the other. That's why we make butter
Okay.
from the cream. So that's what we did for a living. From sun up to sundown, we work in the field, chop cotton and plowed in the field.
Yeah.
And did that. And we was making 50 cents a day. That was our. If we go and hire ourselves out to the next farmer, which would be a German,
Okay.
to have that farm. So we'd go and work to make us some money.
Okay.
6 cents a day.
Oh, wow.
And if another farmer would hire us, pay us more, it would be 75 cents a day. But that was good money.
Yeah.
And then I went to school, walked 4 miles one way, 4 miles back.
And how old were you when you started going to school? How was it?
We were 6 years old.
6 years old? Okay.
We went to school. My sister. I had a twin. I have another. It was 4 of us that was reared together. I had a sister older than we were and a brother. The brother was the oldest. So it was 4 of us growing up.
Okay.
So we would walk those 4 miles one way to school and 4 miles
Wow.
back in the afternoon to school. We had one room teacher.
Okay.
One schoolhouse. One teacher.
One teacher.
From the 1st grade through the 8th.
Wow.
One teacher did
And how
that.
many students were there?
Well, it was in the neighborhood. I guess it's around 25, 30
Wow.
from different communities.
Yeah.
And she would teach us from the 1st grade through the 8th grade. Was a grade rate in elementary school.
And how old were you when y'all moved to Dallas?
When I came to Dallas, I was 22 years old.
You were
Came
22.
to Dallas in 1940.
Okay. And did you move by yourself, or was it like you and your
I
siblings?
moved I had a niece that lived here, my
Okay.
sister that lived here in Dallas, and I lived with them till I got married. I had 10 years, and then I got married and then moved out.
Okay.
But when I first came to Dallas, I didn't know anything about the city.
How was it? How was it coming from a farm to being like a city?
Different. Because I wasn't used to buses, streetcars. That's what we had then. And the streetcars was 7 cents to ride a streetcar. And the buses were the same. And they had the white and color everywhere in Dallas.
And was that was your first time like officially seeing segregation and everything?
Yeah, that was my first time. Because when I was living in the country, by my dad being just a few years after segregation, we was free. There was nobody, fussing about our age, what they called us niggers and all of that. We didn't have any people that do like they are doing now to protest because we were so afraid. My dad was free, his daddy was free. They didn't want to make no noise about it. So they took it. Whatever he walk on the sidewalk, my dad would have to get off the sidewalk if a white lady was coming, pull his hat off and wait till she passed by. Otherwise, he would get his punished really anything, get him hung. But that's what he had to do there, and I realized it. But that's had to do that for us to be living today. I'm telling my nieces that, and they say, I wouldn't have did this. Oh, yes, you would have done it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So that's what they had to go through that. No.
And how did that make you feel? Like, do you remember your first reaction to seeing just something that was like colored here and white? So do you remember your first initial reaction?
When I first came to Dallas, that colored sign is on one side and white on the other. I would go to work, and then in the afternoon the bus be full and maybe one seat left. You couldn't sit in that seat. You'd stand up over the seat, there were 2 seats there. You couldn't sit in either one, and every time you go in the back, when you get on the bus, if it was empty almost, you get a sign, so you sit while it says colored, facing you, But and every time everybody else get on and fill up, you move. If they get the sign and move, they get the sign and move. Then they get to the front seat. That's what we had to go through.
Did
Then
it-
that was colored and white toilets, water fountains downtown. We had to go down in the ground for colored, for restroom. And then we couldn't try on any clothes or hats or nothing.
And were you able to go into, how was it if you wanted to go into a department store? Were those also divided as well? Mm-hmm.
You can go in, but you couldn't touch nothing. If you want to buy a dress, you pick it, but
You couldn't touch anything?
no, couldn't try it on, couldn't touch it. You
No.
just tell them, and couldn't bring it back either.
Yeah.
So you had to wear it.
And I know Dallas is a city, so I know it's not as bad as the small towns, but did you ever witness people getting beat up and taken to jail and all that for protesting and speaking up for justice and whatnot in Dallas?
No, I never got a chance to be in that,
Okay.
percent when that was happening.
Would you just see it on the news a
A
lot?
whole lot.
Yeah. And were you ever afraid that stuff like that would happen in the city? Like more things
Oh,
would
yeah,
take
well, because I would hear about it, but I'd be at home. I
Mhm.
wouldn't go out. But it was pretty, we were pretty scary then because the advocates, we were more afraid of the advocate, the one that was speaking against it. We was more afraid for their lives. I was bold enough to come out to help us out.
And like, how did you feel when like President Kennedy was elected? How did you feel about him when he first was elected? Were you on his side? Were you rooting for him?
We were so happy when he was elected, and I guess we thought he's going to solve everything. I guess because that's when I started working for the school system, Roosevelt. I never forget. The day is the 22nd, the day that he got killed.
Oh wow!
And that was my husband's birthday.
Oh,
I never forget that. It was his birthday on the 22nd of November. And the children were I was at school, and all those high school kids were just fainting and falling out. And the nursery was running everything. That we had heard that he had passed.
Yeah.
We just didn't know what was going to be next.
Yeah.
I guess it was a sad day. Everybody was sad. Every time you go to church, they were sad about it.
Yeah.
Here in the city, the president.
Yeah.
That was something.
Yeah, especially after all the stuff that happened in Washington, all the like victory moments and everything. Because how was that, like the day of just seeing everybody joining up in Washington to really speak up? And...
Oh no, I just watched it on the news. We didn't know what the next step was going to be, what was going to happen to us. Were we going back or we going forward? Because it was free. They were free, but there was still so much segregation. People find them hung in the woods, and they say they committed suicide themselves. And who was that? Emmett Till, I think, in Waco, I think. They said he just came down and they hung. Did him so bad.
Yeah, beat him so bad. Yeah, and how his mom left his casket open.
I remember that so bad.
And how was it teaching at Roosevelt, because it was still segregated?
Yeah.
And how, I know you said that maybe you didn't go through a lot where your family was being able, were the students, did their families deal with stuff like that? How was it just children coming to school every day and their stories?
It wasn't no white, it was all black during that time. At Roosevelt, they were all black kids. And later on, that's when they graded the schools, But they were, I guess the way the kids was acting, that kids do act.
Would they come to school? How was it for them at that time, though? Would they come to school? Like, I know they were probably happy to have a place to go, but at the same time, knowing that everything was segregated, did you feel that it was an anger?
Yeah,
anger was among all the children?
You would have quite a few being angry kids, because when the blacks started to move into the south part of the dam, that South Dallas, at least that's when white people was living in South Dallas. That's when Madison was all white. That's and all on South Boulevard was Jews living, rich Jews. That's where they were living. So when they stopped moving, I know my sister-in-law bought a home in South Dallas, and they got bummed. Some of them got bummed. The houses.
Wow.
Bum or set fire to the house. Some of the houses got burned. And they didn't know who did it. Or else they have those signs of what you call those white
They would put signs up.
extremists. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they put signs up. Throw balls, fires a ball in the house.
They just wanted all the black people to just go
Some
away.
Some of them moved back where they came from because they was afraid. You know, you afraid you're moving in a white neighborhood, and some neighbors are still there, white, next door, and they didn't want their neighborhood to be mixed up like that, so they did that for a while, and then they finally moved on. Because when I bought this house, it was in 60. In 58, we bought it. I've been here ever since.
Wow.
White man sold it. They lived here. I lived. We bought the house next door first, and we lived over. And then they wanted to sell it, and there was white beauty shops.
Wow.
On the corner places. All was still all white, but they finally moved out, and became, wherever they went, it all became black. It was nice when we first moved over there, but they were still afraid, you know. We didn't know who was going to come back and whatever they were going to do. Yeah.
What was something that you were the happiest about, that something you couldn't do when you were a child, that after like the laws were passed and all the equal rights laws were passed, that you were able to do? What was one thing that you were just like the most excited about?
We could go places, could sit anywhere you want. You could drink from the fountains, and they took most of those colored signs down, and we felt more free in walking to town. But we still knew we were black, you know.
And were you bothered a lot just going through town and with that freedom, the people like just still saying phrases?
They wouldn't be friendly to us, you know, because it took a while. They weren't friendly because they knew it was free. We were free, and desegregate things. Desegregate was careful. Some folks wouldn't allow us in the places, but they knew it's against the law. But some say it's high. The price is so high you couldn't go in it anyway because the price, you couldn't afford to go in.
Couldn't afford it because they would just keep making it higher.
But still stores like Neiman Marcus, they never did allow us in there unless you're working. Now, I had people that work in there, as long as you can work in there, but you couldn't buy the clothes because it was too expensive, and they weren't paying you enough money to live there. And we could still work in private home, but we was living in southern quarters. And that's why my niece was living. But when she came home, bought her home over here on Sutter, she couldn't later would bring her home, but she had to stop off in a neighborhood that's an old house or something. Couldn't bring her home, otherwise she wouldn't have a job. Yeah. But and you couldn't drive a car, a nice car, you had to ride the bus.
Wow.
Couldn't let them know what you were doing.
What you're doing.
That's the way that was.
And what was your first job in
my first job when I was working in private home. Well,
okay.
My first job, I worked in private home, making $7 a week.
Okay.
I thought I was on high cotton.
Yeah.
And then got it, didn't know anything about it. So when I first got familiar with it and learned more, and then they give you a little raise, you make 8:50 or something like that. But you go in the back door and come out the back door. You didn't go in the front door.
Wow.
You never did go in it. And you had to wear apron.
Okay.
And I did. I remember wear apron and something on my head to show that I'm a, not a, show that you're, I guess, a servant. That's what it is. So that you are a servant. And you always know you're a servant. You're not talking while you're working. And I had to clean the house. That's what, scrub the floor on my knees, the baseboard, and do all that to make that $7.
And how long did it take you to get home every day?
Oh, for 8 hours a day.
8 hours.
And if she come and find us not doing anything, she find something else. If I get through before, she'll find something else to wash the windows or something else to do. So it was just, well, I didn't say anything different from do anything, just did what they told me to do.
Okay.
I didn't speak out.
Okay.
Well, I should have, but I didn't.
Yeah.
It was a life that I wouldn't take for exchange, because it grew me in a lot of ways to be more patient.
Another thing that I was thinking about the last time when I was over here and you were talking about just how you were so excited about getting married, and I remember I was looking at your picture and I asked you what color was your dress, and you were just talking about that. So can you talk about how was it just for blacks just getting married back then and dating? How was it?
Well, they were getting married in homes, and that's why I got married in my niece's home. And they had a photographer who would come to your house and take them, and a preacher would come. And it didn't cost but $250. My husband always tell me, all you was worth $250. That's what the license was.
Wow.
$250. But when we got married, after I was working at Woodway, so I worked a while. We opened up a business, a restaurant business.
Oh, wow.
North Dallas. That's when the churches was on each corner, Good Street and all those churches. They were all in North Dallas. And on Sundays they would fill up our place.
Oh, wow.
That's what we sold, food, plate, lunches.
Okay.
And soft drinks and ice cream and cookies. That's what we did. And I baked the pies. And he was a chef. I had this picture, but I don't have it.
Yeah, the picture over there.
He was a chef. Kept every day. For 17 years we were there. 17 years.
Wow.
Right where Arts is. Where Arts is now.
Okay.
It was on the next corner, just a block. They would fill up our restaurant.
Really? And so in your restaurant, it was only for blacks, or?
It's for anybody to come in.
It was anybody to come in, so did whites come in every now and then?
Yeah.
Okay.
He would cater to them.
Okay, you would cater. Okay.
Carry to them. They would come and eat with us too. Sure did. Yeah. Like
that's nice.
those that wanted to associate with us.
Yeah. And around what year was it when you opened up your restaurant and everything?
It was in 52.
52. Okay.
I think it was in 66. I think that's when we had to close it down.
You had to close it down
because they sold it to Woodruff Rogers.
Wow.
Freeway.
Wow.
So that's when we closed up, and then my husband just retired then, but I still worked on him.
Just catering and stuff.
Yeah. I worked on it for the ISD for 26 years and cooking. So I enjoyed that working with you. So I've been working with you all my life.
And how was it during the civil rights movement? Because that was I guess like during that period. I guess your restaurant when y'all started opening up and it started booming. That was during that time.
During that time we had, and during the fair days for the kids to come, and we just had one day for fair.
Okay.
All the schools would be there, parade and all. And I remember when Martin Luther King came one year to Dallas, and the churches, he was at People's, I think it was, all the church. I forget.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
The Peoples.
I remember that. And Miss Craft, Juanita Craft.
Okay.
She used to come to our restaurant all the time. She
Wow.
was a good advocate too.
Yeah.
You remember?
Yes.
She have a house.
And also with entertainment, how was it when they would have all the like racist shows with people in blackface? How did that make you feel? And all the
We felt so bad about that.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Because we always felt like we belonged to be with no help for us. That's why I felt. I felt when they was calling us those names, and I said, well, I used to want to be white. You know, kids always wanted to be white because we thought you always gonna be black. You're not always not gonna be nothing. Because that's why I didn't get to further than I did in school. Cause my parents thought you shouldn't mess with that because we already got as far as we are. And during those times, the blacks, the only profession they had was school teachers. Very many was in the school teacher. And all my people were school teachers. When my cousins all finished older than I, they went to Prairie, they were school teachers. You either school teacher what is that we did? That's the most thing we were school teachers. Didn't think to be no lawyers, but when the young one would say I wants to be that, their father would, oh, you ain't gonna be that. You know they ain't gonna let us do that.
Wow.
But they would persist anyway. That's how we got far as we did.
Yeah.
Because they spoke out. The younger folks spoke out.
And when they did start passing the equal rights law, did you feel like you had hope for a change?
Yeah,
and it was just going to keep
especially when Kennedy got killed, we thought our hope was gone. We weren't going to have another chance. That when Martin Luther King was alive, we just felt every day just prayed and prayed for him, But he thought the struggle was so hard, but he was have so much faith. We wondered if anybody else gonna be able to take him, take over from why he left our faith.
Yeah.
That's what we was wondering about us not knowing anymore.
Yeah.
But that was sad too when that happened.
And even as like in our African American community, just all over, and I guess specifically in Dallas, just what do you feel like we need to do to like help the improvement just as a community? Like what do you think it takes for just, I guess I know that people know the problems that we're facing and everything, but what do you feel that it really takes?
We need to, as parents, I think they need to grow the kid at home, train them at home, and we need to teach them because we're never going to grow unless we teach the children to have patience and struggle for education. That's what they need to do. They need become more educated, so they know how to deal with life. But the struggle that they are going to have and struggle that we have in now, it needs us to put the guns down and put up effort to make themselves better. It's all about yourself. You can't do nothing. Make yourself better. And your friend make yourself better. And that's what makes it a better country. To live. Everybody strive to be better than what they are now. Just make up your mind, I'm going to struggle. It's hard work. It's no more microwave stuff, what they want. It seem like instant. They just have patience and wait. I think it's going to get better. There's no turning back. Kids are learning better. They're smarter than they were when I was born. When I was born, they be a week or so for the eyes to come open. Now they came here looking, so they already smart. They struggling. It's going to get better. I learned a lot from little kids. I have a little 2-year-old. She's so smart. And she's 2.5 now. And she'll tell shit, my daughter be talking about, be sad and a headache. And she said, now it's going to be better. It'll be all right. That's what it's going to be all right. So you can learn a lot from a kid. Right now, she's just learning so much. And I look forward to being around and tell her. So it helps me. But you have to train them up and put them in a position where they can learn. Because it's so hard now, growing up with me, all the kids now, make them better, love each other more. That's what they have more love for kids now. Because they don't have that struggle. Now, kids don't have struggle like we had.
Yeah.
Because they growing up with whites and all mixed races, so they think they're better, just as good as them. They don't know why. You're a dark race, why you don't like me? Color's a color. Color is like a bunch of colors. Red is good as my favorite is black, and so that's what kids are now. Kids don't know what you teach them. They only what you teach in your home. If the mothers would do the same thing and put away their guns. Because when I was born, guns was all in the house, all across the doorpost.
Wow.
Nobody had an idea of thinking about shooting nobody. But now, I think it's going to get better.
Well, Sister Johnson, thank you so much for sharing your story with me and just some facts about your life and just...
I hope I have some.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you so much. And it's such an encouraging story. Thank you.
Now all things, they are possible. I've got a hold onto my faith and I won't let go.